because you have an option in being around that person.
Mm-hmm.
If you're negative, I don't want to have nothing to do with you, because remember, I'm protecting my energy. And if I bring a negative energy around me, then I'm the problem.
You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. Downloadable audio episodes can be found in the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie, and today we're welcoming / preparing to learn from entrepreneur extraordinaire Action Jackson. So Action, how is it going today?
It's wonderful, man. I can't complain. Everything's been busy and dramatic my way this week.
Dramatic in a good way?
All the time.
All right.
Always positive.
I love it. So I was thinking you're in the landscaping business,
Yeah.
but we're just chatting up here, and you got stuff going on in all directions. So
Yes, I do.
how about we start by just listing the businesses you got going on?
My main business is a landscaping business, lawn care service. And then my off businesses is a training program, and that's a placement business. And then my other business is print on demand, and that's promotional products.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take those out of order a little bit.
Yep.
Let's start with the training program,
Okay.
because I didn't know about that until Friday. I don't know, a few days ago. So tell me about the training program, because I know that people in your industry, well, any industry really, are in desperate need of good employees, show up, do the job, trustworthy, all that jazz.
That's absolutely right, man. So it's a good conversation to have, especially if your audience is out there in the industry field. So basically, how I got to where I was at today and running the program is basically having that need of good employees and also skilled employees, right? And most importantly, employees that show up.
True story. True story. I always joke with my crew that good help is hard to find, but I can find bad help, no problem.
Man, come on, man. You can pay a lot of money for bad help, can't you?
Yeah, well, I have. Definitely have.
So, but anyways, how the program came together, the year before last, I was having a struggle with my employees in 2023. And I was off and on doing training programs for my staff members. And every year that I did a training program, I can see how successful I was.
All right.
So then the last year I didn't do it, right? And I seen how bad it can actually be. So I was actually looking to see if I can get professional landscaping training help out there, so I can be like, just another thing off of my plate that I ain't have to do. And when I looked online, I realized that nobody did a hands-on training for lawn care landscaping training. So I was like, man, this can actually be something very bigger than just my business. This is something that I can do to help all landscaping and lawn care businesses in our area, in our industry. So what I did was, man, I just went to the drawing table. I put together a program that actually helped that niche in our industry. So now what I did was put together a program, a curriculum that showcases hands-on and verbiage, so they can go ahead and see both sides of what we deal with in our industry. And that turned out to be very helpful for our business and to other business in the very first year. In the very first year that we started this, we gave 19 people new employment, and we made 3 entrepreneurs.
Holy cow. 3 entrepreneurs, so 3 people started landscaping businesses.
Yes, sir.
Holy cow.
Yep.
How do I not know about this?
Man, it's only 1 year in the making. And our next class that's the reason why we're doing the Super Bowl gala this Sunday, so we can bring in funds so we can support the class for our second season in March.
So tell me a story here, because you're talking landscaping training. So is this mowing,
hardscaping, the maintenance side of it. So it's a 4-week course that covers everything that has to do pretty much with landscaping. So it gets somebody up to speed real quick. And the best thing about it is that it engages with the personnel that's trying to learn and gives them the appropriate time to actually learn, where we're giving them back 100% of our time to show them professionals too. And I'm also getting other people out in the industry that's willing to come into the program and give their expertise as well. So there's other people in other companies that's coming in that's helping us out with this as well.
Other landscaping companies?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So for instance, one of our main guys is Ross Crosby. He's from Above the Res Property Management. He does the hardscape portion. And then we have our guy Cedric Page. He does the safety part about it. And then we have other people that has health awareness as well that comes in that does that type of portions, because we look at it as all in one package.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, when you come to this program, you are going to be learning everything, not everything, but a bundle of knowledge that's in this industry.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the standard before? Hire a person, say, hey, go
Hire
mow
a
the lawn,
person and put them on, trust that their resume is good.
good luck.
Right? Trusting that the resume is factual and going by their word. But I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of actors out there. So that was another portion of the reason why we decided to go the route we is. Now every employee that doesn't have 4 years, 5 years experience, and we can go ahead and if they have references, that we actually say, you got to go through the program. Because the year that we had with the people that went through the program is night and day.
Oh, wow.
Is clear night and day.
Very cool.
Yep.
All right. So when you say night and day, is this just confidence, skill set? When you're talking to them, they know the nomenclature of the industry?
All of that, actually. I can't even respond and add to that, but it's exactly like that. Okay. And it's the confidence on our side to have for them to go out there and assassinate the job that we have for them.
Tell me a story about customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of the training as well?
No, see, the customer service is done on my office side.
Okay.
And then we have our office staff that has those weekly meetings, those end of the week meetings, and those prep meetings to get everybody on board on how to treat the customers. And then also, I almost forgot, in the course, we also do talk about that customer service is a part of the staff out in the field's job, right? To deal with the customers. But we make it very clear. We have green shirts, we have red shirts. Green shirts is our foremen. Green shirts is the ones that's going to interact with the customers. The red shirts is the ones that's out there performing the work, right? So you can very clear of what's the difference between who to talk to, who not to talk to with the customers. And the customers, they see it very clearly, like, okay, it's one red shirt and then they probably see a green shirt and they see 2 to 3 red shirts. So
got it. Okay.
Very clear.
I always think of Star Trek with the red shirts. I don't know if you know that reference. Red shirts are always a character that gets killed. So don't want that. So it's interesting from an employee point of view. Is their goal to advance to a green shirt?
All the time. Oh, okay. No. So we want everybody to be leaders, right? So we cover about 20 different services. So in our landscaping and lawn care services. So we want everybody to get to be that green shirt. So we got different levels. How do you get there? Showing up on time, right? Wearing your uniform, and then we look at that through the month, and we use that database to scale people up.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
So who is actually looking at that? Is that you, or is that do you have a
the
team?
Staff members? Yep, I got 4 staff members that's in the office now. We just had 3, and then we just hired somebody else just this week.
Oh, nice.
You know,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's a big deal for us because customer service is our number one thing other than safety. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if somebody is getting treated with a white glove service, then they're 9 times out of 10, they'll repeat business with you.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. Especially, I would think, for an industry where you're at, where your competition is terrible at answering their phone.
Yep.
They're not very nice if you do get a hold of them. They may or may not show up.
True.
Just rinse, repeat. Just about any service industry has the same problem.
True.
So when you actually do answer your phone and show up and treat people well, people are like, oh, yeah, referral, baby.
Referral. And that's what we need, because if you look at the times that we're having right now with no snow, it really puts a dent in our game.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it for the companies that's really worrying about the back end and what can we do, these are the times where you can navigate those things, right? These are the times that you can go back to the drawing board and say what worked, what didn't work, because you have so much time on your hands. And instead of getting panicky and saying, it ain't no snow coming, what we gonna do? Let's focus on what we're about to do.
Right.
And I always feel like, and this is how I got my name, Action Jackson, I always respond to pressure.
Nice.
I feel like I'm at my best when the pressure is on.
All right.
So, when the pressure is on, like tight on finances right now because it ain't no money coming in, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit there and panic? Are you gonna sit there and whine? Are you gonna sit there and scratch your head? Or are you gonna react to it? And how you react determines what type of person you are.
True story.
Yes, sir.
True story. I love it. Just to let the people understand, we're in Wisconsin.
Yep.
It's February. Approaching mid-February. There's no snow on the ground. So it's too cold to do lawn mowing and stuff like that. But there's no snow to do plowing. So right now, it's either twiddle thumbs or get yourself better to prepare for the spring that's coming.
And that's what we do. Every time. Every year, all season, we're always in our lab. We're always working on it. We're always upgrading. And it gives us time to work on that other business that I was telling you about, that print on demand. So,
yeah, I love
tough
it.
times financially, but like I said, well up to the challenge.
Nice. I love it. Let's shift gears and talk about the print on demand thing.
I love that conversation now.
So you got landscaping, training for landscaping, and then poof, print on demand.
Yeah.
So let's just chat initially. What all does your print on demand business entail?
Promotional products. So whatever you can think of, like pins, cards, flyers, wall decorations, window decorations, decals, and then vehicle decals. That's what we're into, right? So what we was faced with, like I was telling you off camera, was when we changed our logo, which you can see on my sweater, is that we was faced with, man, we got to change all our trucks, all our equipment. We got to take it off and reprint. And just when I was thinking, I was like, well, we got over 20 trucks and trailers. So right away, I'm thinking 20 grand, because half a wrap is around $1,000. So like I said, I do good when pressure is on. So what I thought about, I say, man, why should we give away that 20, 30 grand? Because we ain't talking even about the shirts. We ain't talking about the hats. We ain't talking about the cards. Remember, we got to do cards. We like to do pins too, people, when you like to write.
Lawn signs,
everything. When you think about everything that got to do about how do you present your business promotional wise. So I was like, man, let's look into it and see actually what it costs to get some of this equipment. So I did my due diligence, and my team did their due diligence, and we came across this machine. And I realized that it was this big expo going down in Vegas. And my experience with expos is, because that's how we got Giovanni out of Expo, the famous dog. Everything on the showroom floor they want to sell at a lower price because they took it out the box and they used it.
Oh, all right. I see where you're going.
You get where you going?
Yeah.
So, make a long story short, we decided to go down to Vegas to learn more about it, ask questions, hands-on, because we just got our first year training. So we thinking hands-on, getting to know it, visually, not over a screen, over YouTube and everything, is going to be our best option. So we went down there with a plan, and I actually got the machine I wanted, and not only the machine that I wanted, but the bigger version of it.
Oh, nice.
Yup, for almost the same price of what I was thinking about the price of the smaller version of it.
All right.
So we got that, and then everything leads to the next step. So I met another guy there. He said, hey, if you meet me down at the Indiana show, I'll give you this one for this price. So I did that. So I found myself for a month just rolling on this like travel journey. And I was like, oh, I slept in my van to save money on hotel fees, right? Because I got a travel van too. So I drove that. Me and my famous dog Giovanni went down to Indiana and got the second one. So we ended up getting like 30 grand worth of equipment. I paid for a $2,500 schooling for me and my staff to start learning this stuff. And right now we're already starting to print, sell, and put production down.
Dang.
Within the first 4 months now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 4 to 5 months somewhere in there. I get lost because there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, it's all right. No one's gonna be like, hey,
Potatoes.
according to the calendar here, right?
Yeah, right. So so yeah, that's how that works. And now we can print anything, print and cut anything. High quality designs, man. And it's just an awesome time that I'm living in right now. I'm really excited.
So this is essentially a machine to print on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Vinyl. Right? I imagine white format.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then you know, whenever you see something, it's always pieced together. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You might not know it, but it's pieced together depending on how big the machine is. Sometimes, you know, the big guys out there, they got the bigger machines where they can just print the whole thing, stitch it together or whatever. But we're working our way up all the way to wherever we want to go.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. That is cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty dope.
It's funny how you're describing the life of the entrepreneur, because you're essentially like, hey man, we got to live in the van, or not live in the van, we got to sleep in the van.
It was fun too. I love staying in my van too, by the way. It's not like a doll van. I set it up. I had this van for about 12 years, and it was set up for travel.
Oh, nice. Okay. So it wasn't like you're just sleeping on a dumpster or anything like that.
No.
Okay. It's classy here. But the idea, and I suppose it wasn't 30 below or anything.
No, it was perfect where I had the windows open.
Nice.
I think it was, November.
All right. Well, I mean, for what November normally isn't what it has been.
Right. It was pretty nice.
Not so bad. Not so bad.
Not
it's
so
the
bad.
Motorcycle weather.
Not so bad for a small fry.
No, that's all good. Let's shift gears into your landscaping business, because that's a big one.
Yep.
So when did you first start that?
I opened the doors in 2009.
Okay.
So it's been
a bit.
This is about 16 years.
Yeah, nice.
In April will be 16 years.
All right. So what made you get into the landscaping game?
Well, I was working for my grandfather, and I did that for about a year and a half, and that was about in 2006. And then I took a break, and then and I had to take a break to find myself, right? I had to do some soul digging and figure out what I'm on this earth to do. What's my purpose? It was that time of my life where I was trying to figure out, where am I going? What am I about to do? How am I about to do it? Blah, 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 blah. So I took about a year and a half trying to soul search that. And when I did, I kind of figured out, let's figure out what we're going to do professional wise. And I was like, well, I'm good at telling jokes. So I thought about comedy. And then I thought about, comedy is not going to work, because then I got to stay out late. And then, how alcohol gets. I said that can lead to alcoholism. I said, I don't want that. And then I realized I was good with my hands. And then I said, well, I'm good with my hands. And then I said, well, what are we going to do in our hands? And as I was thinking about that, some time rolling in, I was driving around. I was just looking at properties for some odd reason. I was like, man, that grass grows every week. I see this same guy out there every week. I say, man, that's an industry that's not really tapped into. And
time, right?
Jesus Christ. How does it, I don't know how that is. Sorry for that, but when it goes off, it'll stop. So I was thinking like the industry that I'm looking at, like man, is rarely tapped into. So as people that I knew, nobody really talked about landscaping or lawn care. So I was looking at it like, man, this can really be a good thing. So I put that in perspective and I said, you know what? I don't want to work in the office, not an office type, you know, because you got to draw the things that you're not into out. Because I'm thinking about long distance. What can I do long distance?
You're talking time?
Yeah, long distance
Okay.
time on how can I, you know, be okay by doing something and not just jumping into something and I do something, then I'm out of it. So I said, well, yeah, I can work outside. I said, working outside, that's where I'd rather be. So make a long story short, I chose mowing at this time.
All right.
But I knew it was going to turn out to be something way much bigger. That's the reason why it's not called Jackson's Lawn Care. Me naming this Jackson's Yard Care was a very thoughtful thinking when I named it, because I said yard, that anything that involves with yard, I can do now. And my name tells it all. So trimming, mowing, removal, new landscape. I was thinking about that, but I didn't know how to do it back then. I just knew I was going to evolve into this. So I decided the lawn care was going to be it, and then I named the name, and then from there it was just like history. It was just like, this is what I'm going to do. I know I ain't going to probably pay myself for a long time because everything I'm going to do, I'm going to put it back in the business. I say, so every job that I found difficult, I'm going to buy a tool that made my next job like this go way smoother. And it kind of evolved around that the whole time. And then while I was in 2009 and 2015, I also went back to college. I went to college as well and did 2 years of college for human services. And then at MATC. And then one day I talked to a mentor of mine, and, you know, he told me everything that I wanted to do in college, I could really do it in my business. And I thought about that, and I went home and I thought about that, and I said, you're right. And I finished out the semester, and that was like history for us schooling. But to make it interesting, I focused all my attention on business. And then 3 years later, MATC gave me a $30,000 contract.
Whoa, money's going the right direction there.
So when I look back at that, and you can look at that series on my YouTube channel, JYC TV on YouTube. Go to the one where it says MATC, and I'm showing my idea where when I went to school, and then you can see my team out there exercising our services. And I think that was the highlight of, like, if I had to look back, that was one of the main highlights of my careers.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So you first start out your mowing. Did you have employees or
No.
It was you?
Well, I had friends that helped me on with it, like is in that sort. But throughout the couple of years, they kind of came and left.
Sure.
And left. You know, and that was okay because my mind was already made up. I was like already here today in my mind in 2009. You get what I'm saying? Like I was focused. And so I didn't care who was with me, who came and left. I kept it open-minded. I didn't put shame on them because they did it. You know, because when you're focused, it's just like, you know, tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. You know, all moves got to be the right moves. All small things got to be made as big decisions, because you know small things lead to bigger either problems if you leave it unsolved. Unresolved. So
yeah, it's all a game.
It's all a game. So that's where I was at, man. This is like a big journey for me, man, and I'm really happy that I had the guts to figure out who I was in the early 2000s and come up with a game plan, because it really paid off in the long run.
I want to dig into that, finding your direction, all that kind of stuff, in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. In my mind, you're just walking the earth like Kane from Kung Fu kind of thing, but what were you doing? Were you working other places, or? Man,
to be honest with you, I tried to give my time to somebody else. I was really I was in this time where I was like, I really want to be involved with with somebody's business that I can give my all to. And when I was getting denied, when they wasn't hiring me, man, I remember one day I was a grown man, right? And I went home and I cried to my mom and I was like, Mom, ain't nobody hiring me.
Oh.
Yeah, and because I was like, nobody's hiring me, and I just want to be involved with something. And she looked at me and she said, Son, things gonna be all right. You got this. Because my dad was an entrepreneur, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, and my mother was that caretaker, that lover, that always provided like that loving grandmama feeling and that mother feeling, right? So, with those two sides in there, but that day really hit me when she told me things is gonna be okay, you got this, you gonna think of something. And instead of crying all the way into a bad situation, I really felt like, you know what? Why am I why am I thinking about giving somebody all of me when I'm young right now? I'm 23, I'm 22, 23. I can really focus this on my like own bit. I can do something for myself and create something. And that's when things started revolving in my mind. And that's where it came to, okay, how do we do this? And then I say, man, I'm lying to myself in some areas, and I'm not comfortable, in some areas about myself. And I say, first steps is finding yourself, finding your purpose. And that's how I went down that journey.
All right. So is it books or listening videos? Like, where'd you get your inspiration?
I'm not a big book reader, but I'm always just always like looking out and observing and sucking it in. I'm always like a sponge. So what I do is I would just be quiet and listen a lot of times. And I'll go out there like my father. I talk to him. I'll just watch how he conducts himself in his business, in his natural business settings. I go out there and talk to my grandfather in his natural business setting. I can just sit there for hours. When some people in my age range would be like, man, I'm gone. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And then I also talk to strangers, and I talk to like my stepfather at the time, L. Hudson and stuff. And just sucking things in, man, just being a big sponge to the world, man. And then finding like religion-wise, like, can I find it that way? And I found out, when I did that path, like church is not really in the church. I'm like, I say people go to church. And this took a while for me to realize this. I say, people are using one day out the week to be holy and doing things for the good, right reasons. And I noticed that. I say, man, what if I just try to do that every day?
Well, novel. Right.
I said, how can I have this same energy every day? How can I feel like every day is my birthday? And then I start working on myself as figuring out what's my triggers, right? What's my triggers? What gets me mad? What makes me happy? What makes me sad?
Triggers both good and bad.
Everywhere, all the way around the board. And then I ended up saying, okay, I need to protect myself through my energy. I don't need to let people steal my energy. And I realized that's the key. Energy is the key. Humbleness is the key. Open-minded is the key. And, not always trying to know something is the key. Understanding that sometimes your valuable moments is the best moments because you can actually take in things. And if you let it out the right way, it can be the best thing you can ever do. Because, when you're valuable, that's your like weakest point. So I had to learn how to balance my life out in those areas. And when I finally came to those judgment days, I was like, this is what I am. This is what I'm here on this earth to do. And then from 2009, it was like the decoration page for me where this is it. This is where I'm at. That's why I was tunnel focused. And I told myself every day I'm I'm going to get up and I'm going to be as positive as I can possibly be. I'm going to stop saying no. I'm going to stop saying because. I'm going to stop saying the things that get you to, have excuses. And I'm not going to be an excuse man. I'm not going to be that. And I said, that's what I'm going to be every day. And that's what I worked on every single day from the time I started my business.
Nice.
And that's why you see Action move the way he moves, because of the simple fact is that I practice this and I make my focus on that, and I go back to the because and the why I'm here every single moment that I'm faced with a tough moment. And that's why I'm good at pressure.
I love it. I love it. Playing the victor, not the victim.
Yeah.
Get stuff done.
Playing the offense.
Yeah.
Only defense is when I have to be.
I love it.
Yep.
So one of the challenges that I find, and I'm betting that you have this as well, is you got this drive and you got this philosophy of life, let's call it, where it's positive, you're going in the right direction, and you're growing something. And then you go to hire an employee, and you have a hard time finding someone that's got that same or even relatively close to that kind of drive. So what do you do in that situation? Do you hire someone and be like, well, they can do the job? Do you hire someone, try to train them to get your insights? Or what do you do there?
Man, that's an interesting question. And I meet people where they at, right? And like, when you thinking about being open-minded, you don't expect nobody to do anything that you haven't showed them. And that's where I feel like a lot of people go wrong at. It's like, you haven't talked about it, you haven't exercised certain things. So why are you expecting something from them that you guys ain't talked about it or haven't exercised it? So I always look at it in that aspect so I don't get drained, because it's easily for somebody to come over in your in your space and drain you based on for things that I just expected you to know. So I don't expect nobody to know. I just keep people every time I keep people in the same bubble and let them show what they can do. Or I tell them certain things, and once I tell you certain things and we go down those example roads, then that's when my standards for you goes higher and higher, because now we've been down that road. So if that made sense, is meeting people where they at.
All right.
All the time.
No, I get it. I mean, culture of the business is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's interesting, I've noticed that there are some people that just have a negative, kind of a gray cloud going on. And if you're not careful, that gray cloud can bleed onto you and your
Remove yourself from that. Mm-hmm. Don't let those people in your bubble. And that's what you need to understand, is like understanding what you can deal with, right? Because you have an option of being around that person. Mm-hmm. If you're negative, I don't want it to have nothing to do with you, because remember, I'm protecting my energy. And if I bring a negative energy around me, then I'm the problem.
Sure.
See that?
That's action.
That's the attitude you need to have. Mm-hmm. If you're allowing yourself to be around this negativity, who's the problem? Is it the negative problem, or you're allowing yourself to be around it?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Taking responsibility.
Taking responsibility out the gate.
Yeah. I love it. And right at the moment, not letting it dangle there.
Because if you go on these journeys and you understand yourself, you understand your triggers. Remember that. You understand your volume level. Like, can you take it? I already know off the bat. I don't need to try it anymore. I've been down that road before.
All right. Oh, I love it. I love it. Tell me some of the success stories you have with employees that were probably looking for just typical run-of-the-mill landscaping company. They come across Action Jackson, the freight train of positivity here, and he's taking care of business, so they're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Well, one of my first employees that I have, he was a kid. His name was Caden, and I did a youth program back in the day. That's pretty much right after I got out of college and stuff. And he ended up being with me until he was 22.
Okay.
So one of my success stories is showing from a 14-year-old kid until he was 22. That was like night and day because I seen them grow into the business.
Yeah.
So to see a child to grow into a man in my industry, that was pretty dope. And then I took his thinking and then let him into my world and say, hey man, this is what you need to do. So him running up under me and growing up under me, he really became a good decision maker. So seeing that in real time, that was one of my biggest highlights.
All
The
right.
other highlight was just the other day. It was like, so we was hiring for snow removal just this last winter, right? Because we did a training program and we had enough guys that came in, but then we had more jobs that we accepted after the program. So we was like, okay, well, we need more guys, and then they can just shadow until they get to the program in March, because we offer protege, so we call that a protege stage. So this guy comes in, and it was a day, it snowed like twice over an inch.
Right.
So this day we're getting over an inch because that's our trigger. That's when we go out. So this guy comes in looking for a job, and I'm not doing the interview. I walk in on the interview from out there already doing some services. And I walk into the interview room, and there's this young man right there. I don't know him from Adam and Eve. And I look up and look down, and I say, how bad you want to work? He said, man, I'd do anything for work. I say, well, you ready to go today? So the man strapped up. He said, I really can't do it today because I'm so hungry. He had no food. He had no money to eat.
Oh.
Yeah, and he had no shoes. He had no gear at the time. So when he decided that, he said, yes, I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed you. I say, I think I got some extra boots, and I think I got some gear for you. Not only did this man get some new shoes, new gear, he put $200 in his pocket. The man worked for 16 hours
Dang.
straight.
Nice.
And then that was like one of my biggest success stories on action. Like, that's action. Like, you really in real time
Yeah.
help somebody. And this is an employee. He's an employee and he's in a protege stage right now, and he's going to be a part of the next class. But this is somebody that came to us, didn't have too much of anything, looking for opportunity, come to JYC, and things happen right that day. Nice. And that's the opportunity that I see myself in the community just being a big impact. And whatever we can do to help that's the type of things that we're going to do to impact our community.
Nice. That's super cool. So he just walked in looking for a job, or
Yeah, he called in, and it was like he set up an appointment for that interview.
Okay.
But at the same time, he ain't had too much. You know what I'm saying? So we did what we did. We did what we did, and it felt really awesome. It felt really great, man.
Yeah. And he followed through as well, right? Because he could have said, thanks for the boots, see you later.
Yep. He could have got the cash, thanks for the boots, but he's been on time, being responsive, and ready to go for the next class.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That is super cool. So when you interview, what are the things that you're looking for in a candidate?
Well, so if you don't have a lot of experience, and if we didn't pick up all the extra work, we wouldn't be in like employment seeking, because remember, we get all our employees from the program now. Mm-hmm. So they go through the program, and then they get placed in our business. And then we choose the best employees that could be from the program, and then move them over. So so just for my prior stuff, like what we looking for is people that got transportation, got state license, that's responsible, that's engaging, that's looking to be an inspiration, that's looking to put in their energy in a good cause, that's looking to fit into our culture, right? Because we're big on community bridging and business bridging. So we ask those type of questions, and we seeing if they can be on time, if they can even come to work on time and be that type of person. And the ultimate is what type of experience that you got.
Right on. So how do you figure that out if they have that stuff, the responsibility, the energy, all that stuff? Because in one interview, you're trying to be like, hey, you want to marry me?
Yeah.
I got an hour to figure out if you're cool or not.
Well, we got a grid that we read off.
Okay.
So we already got a pre-grid that we read off that, that we tapped into, that we kind of, went through all the nicks and bumps on the questionnaire sheets that we have on so if they got a resume, we look at that, but we don't really go off of that. We go on the feeling and the energy that they bringing, right?
Okay.
And if I ain't in there to get that good read on them, my fiance, it's only me and my fiance that's doing the hiring and the firing. So I've been with her for 9 years, so she really picked up on a lot of my good, instincts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So you work with your fiance?
Yes.
You guys haven't killed each other yet?
No, we ain't killed yet. We actually do pretty good, man. And we realize it's sick to say that really rarely works out, but in our good faith is that, man, we understand what we doing, and we understand the journey is going to be tough. And when we get to some of our tough times in our relationship, is that we ask ourselves, we tell ourselves, remember why we got together. Mm-hmm. Remember the reason why we love each other. And we know how to separate work from relationships.
No, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. Some people don't. I don't know of many spouses or people that are in some form of romantic relationship that work together that has lasted.
Yep.
I can think of maybe 2 that I know of, but from years ago, so I don't know if they'd be together now.
I took her off the market my 3rd year being with her.
All right.
And ever since then, she been working at JYC, and now she is 51% older of the print on demand.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so ain't that pretty much?
So she's your boss now.
But she my boss on that end, and then she's also a owner of the workforce development.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yep. So she worked all and hard work pays off. You know what I'm saying? Because we was thinking like, well, she wanted ownership of Jackson's Yard Care because she is the backbone of customer service. When you talk about customer service, Chanel Shields is where it's at. But we're gonna get married. I believe our date is 2026.
Okay.
We've been engaged for 8 years.
Oh, nice.
Cause we know what we want. We're not rushing.
Yeah.
We're building. We have a structure that we're putting together. And so when we get married, then she'll come 50-50, or then she'll have partial of the business. You know how that works.
Yeah.
We're in Wisconsin, so.
Yep. It's interesting hearing you talk about that because I just came off this morning when I'm doing paperwork and stuff like that. I was listening to a YouTube channel called Soft White Underbelly.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a divorce attorney and a marriage psychologist, and they were bantering back and forth for,
I know that had to be.
I think almost 3 hours.
That had to been a good, interesting conversation.
It was so interesting listening to that. And the guy's talking about prenups and all this kind of stuff. And it's interesting because this divorce attorney, his job is to essentially help people split up.
Right.
And he's like, my son came to me and said he's getting married. And he's like, and I was happy for him. And he's like, and I'm a divorce attorney. I think marriage is a terrible idea.
Right.
But his kid, he's like my own son. And the girl is cool and all that kind of stuff, but he's like, there's no way it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Whether in a year or 50 years or whatever like that, you just know it's going to end.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, I guess, where marriage plays a role in society universally, but then entrepreneurs, you got to have a solid stomach, I guess, to
Yep.
deal with an entrepreneur as a spouse. Whether on either end, right? If you're the entrepreneur or you're the non-entrepreneur.
Right.
In your case, you're both entrepreneurs. That's
Well, she's growing to be an entrepreneur. She just became a business person.
okay.
Like, when you look at this, like an entrepreneur grows from a business owner, right? You come from a business owner to an entrepreneur if you want to go into the different stages. Like an entrepreneur, doesn't work in his business. He works on his business and he creates systems and processes. A business owner works in his business day in, day out. And if he ain't there, things doesn't work. Okay? That's what a business owner is, and he just sticks to that one business, right? And that's his full-time job. And people really need to know that. You know what I'm saying? Because some people just be like, entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, but yet, you just sell shirts or something. They need to know the definitions behind what
Yeah,
what
they own a
are.
job.
You own a job.
They don't
You got the
necessarily-
most expensive job in the world, actually.
Right.
That you never have days off. Because owning a business, you are the backbone. You are the start and you are the finish.
I joke with my employees every once in a while. I said I punched in once and I haven't gotten to punch out yet.
I like that one. I might have to steal that one.
It's all yours, man. It's funny because always, I mean, whether it's employees calling in or I don't know, the fire of the day, right?
Yeah.
There's always something going on.
I was a business owner for 15 years in my business. I'm just now getting into the stage of being an entrepreneur, right? Because I have learned my business. If somebody's not there, I know how to pick up any machine and operate it. And I'm not shy to go out there on my own jobs. I'm not shy to go out there on a service job. That's not me. Because once you understand your businesses from every corner, every aspect, you're going to be a better entrepreneur at the end of the day.
True story. Yeah, absolutely. That's the game right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So you've learned a lot. You've been through a lot. You started some businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that you have some advice for people that are considering starting their own gig.
Yep.
Let's start with advice specific to the landscape industry.
All right. What part do you want to know? Do you want me to just throw out any? Do you want to have a topic, or do you want to have
Let's
something?
start with equipment, because I imagine there's some stuff where because that's expensive, right?
Equipment, and it goes up. And then with these tariffs,
Yeah,
you never know what things are going to be at.
It's going to be an interesting challenge to the game that we have to play.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So let's start with equipment. Equipment is fishy because do you buy new equipment? Do you finance it? Do you pay for it? If you talk, you're actually listening to somebody that wasn't able to get loans, right? I didn't go to the bank and get loans. What I did was use my hard-earned money. I think that's like one of the greatest things you can do anyway, is use your hard-earned money and gradually work yourself up, right? If you're talking about landscaping can get broad. Figure out what you want to do in the industry and focus on that for a long period of time.
So you're talking whether that's mowing,
Yep.
or moving rock, or
Yep.
moving gravel, or whatever.
If it's like installing materials, know that therefore you can really cater to that. You can just work around that. Work in that, other than trying to broadly just buy all these tools.
Sure, try to be everything to everybody when you're first starting out.
Right.
That's a recipe for a very expensive disaster.
Yeah, it is. Like when I bought all the stuff that I did, if I decided I was going to do a new job, then I did the job and I found out, I need this next tool to make that job easier. But I did like the job and it was lucrative, right? I'm always trying to figure out what can I do nowadays, or when I was growing, what can I do to be more lucrative doing the same thing?
Fair. Tell me a story also in that. You buy this equipment, you got to put it somewhere.
Oh, that's another
So
thing.
tell me about buildings, leases, all that kind of stuff. Because you got a decent sized place now.
10,000 square feet.
That's healthy. That's a
Yeah,
small grocery store size.
Yeah, it is. Actually, that's let me see what that's half of a high V.
Right? Right. I mean, that's a decent sized shop.
Yeah, that's a decent size.
But that
shop.
wasn't day one.
No, day one I did it out of my mama's garage.
Okay.
Right?
So you just build upon your success.
Yep, until the neighbors get sick of you.
You're firing up the lawnmowers at 6 in the morning.
I'm trying to tell you.
Cut that
Man.
out.
But we had great neighbors. My mom's was very patient. And you know, I don't think she haven't paid for a lawn service since 2009. So shout outs to you. So
That's awesome.
so started out there, and then my uncle he had some space. He had a 15 square foot outbuilding. You know, dry space.
1,500?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice size space and parking available. We made a deal. We did that for 3 years. And then, you know, as the prices went up, he wanted more for his shop. So I wasn't able to we couldn't figure out a landing spot. So I ended up going to a storage unit. Mm-hmm. Bought the biggest space there, bought some dry space. And I did that for about 4 years. And believe it or not, that's where I actually came from before I got this building.
Wow.
Yep. And I was looking for space throughout these whole 4 years. And I couldn't find no space that can fit, that I was looking for. Either it was not enough space in the inside or no space on the outside. You know, I couldn't find that that balance area. Or if, triple net or whatever the case may be. If I did find a space, it was way too much or way out of, range that I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So 4 years go by. I'm just so lucky, man. That's why I say God is good. And being patient is the number one key in business. You don't rush what's not available. Because anytime you try to rush things that's not available, you find yourself in a bad predicament later on. So keep that one. That's a nugget. So what I mean by that, so let's move forward. So so also in this period, in this 4 years, I was trying to buy a house.
Okay.
Me and my fiance. And we found the house. That's a whole different story, but we found the house. And we're going up for signing on that following Tuesday. It was like Thursday. And my fiance tells me, because she knows that I always go for Craigslist and I always go searching for buildings for our business. And I don't know why she said this that day. She was like, you should, when the last time if you look for a place, you should look. So I said, you're right. And I went back to digging and I found 922 South Bird Street. And I called Jeff up, because Jeff is the owner. I said, hey, Jeff, I'm interested in coming to see the place. So I set up a walkthrough with him on Monday. And I'm looking around this big old building when I get there. I'm like, man, this is way bigger than what we want, that we need. And it's double the rent. So I'm up to about $2,500 in rent space and dry space at this storage unit. And they're getting sick of me because now I done bought all this stuff and I got stuff outside that I'm there's against the rules to have and this and this and that. So I walk away after having a conversation with Jeff, and I was talking to my fiance because Jeff gave us really positive vibes. Like, if we want it, we can take it. And I asked my fiance, I said, I don't know about this because it's like double the rent. And we're about to go into, spending double the amount on living spaces as well. So the only thing I can remember her saying was, if you don't get it, you're going to regret it. And that's what having a good spouse is there for. Is somebody being there to be that voice and to give you something to think about. Because she ain't pressuring me into anything. She's being a good spouse and protecting, my decision on making that decision on my own. So the next day, that same day, I had to call my dad, obviously, because he's one of my biggest mentors, Melvin Jackson. And I'm calling some of the other people that's has some good thought process, and they was like, this can work. And then based off of the mentor I told you earlier about dropping out of school, I said, wow, is this where it comes into tuition? Because I can see things. I'm like, I can see things happening down the line. So I thought about all of this stuff, and the next morning I called Jeff up as I'm driving to go sign my house and get my keys. I say, Jeff, I decided I'm gonna take it. So the day I bought my house, the day I signed for my house is the same day I got a 10,000 square foot warehouse.
Dang!
It was the most dramatic week in a good way that I can have. So I ended up signing my house, going back out there after I got my keys for my house, signing the signing the rent lease to the space, and one day I moved. I was about to move my whole life, and that's the day that we became residents. Business residents of Sun Prairie.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love it.
It was dramatic. So in that month, I had to move. I was in my place in Oregon for 4 years, and then I was in my place of business in the storage unit for 4 years. So I had to move those two things out in the same month.
Nice.
And that was big.
It's so interesting because I've interviewed a lot of people here. We're talking over 300 episodes, and the number of people that have a story where they're like, I got married, or I got divorced, I had a kid, I started a business, I moved,
Yeah.
I got new software, new employees, whatever, all this stuff in a very short amount of time. Not every time, but just in I did all these things, right? Moved across the country.
Mm-hmm.
All in this, it was just it seems like a season of change is not unusual in the business world.
No.
Where you're just we got to move some levers, we got to make some changes, this is going to happen. Let's go forward and do it.
Let's do it.
It is nothing that I ever expected, but even people that I've known for decades, that I'm like, you got divorced, had a kid, moved across the country, and started a business in this 6-month period.
Yep. It's crazy when people really lock into what they want.
Yeah.
And what they can actually do, right?
I love it. That's super cool. Action, tell us, we're running out of time here, so where can people find you?
You can pull up Jackson's Yard Care, any platform.
Okay.
Facebook, Google, Yelp, YouTube. Well, YouTube is JYC TV, and then Instagram. So my favorite one that I be on is Facebook.
All right.
So if you guys on Facebook, look out for Jackson's Yard Care, and then go to our webpage where we have our service, and we also have a runoff on our workforce development on there as well. So if you want to check out our mission and vision statement, outside of what we talked about today, jump on that website.
All right. What's the website again?
JacksonsYardCare.com. And always remember, you have the right to a beautiful yard.
I love
Jackson's Yard Care.
I love it. This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. We are locally underwritten by the Bank of Sun Prairie. And if you're listening or watching this on the web, if you could do us a huge favor, give it the big old thumbs up, subscribe, and of course, share it with your entrepreneurial friends, especially those that may be interested in starting a business, may be interested in starting a landscaping business, may be interested in starting or even being a part of the workforce development program.
Reach out to me.
And I'm missing something there. And the
Print on demand.
Print on demand business. I love it.
Promotional products.
Promotional products. I love it. We'd like to thank you, our wonderful listeners, as well as our guest, Action Jackson. Action, can you give us the website one more time?
JacksonYardCare.com.
Awesome. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.